Hey friends, welcome back to Homeschoolology. My name is Nikki. I'm a homeschooling mom of 4 and it is back to school crazy. Yes, I meant to say back to school crazy, okay? It is the time of year, back to school time of year, and I don't know about y'all. You let me know down in the comments. I want to hear it, but does it just go from 0 to 60 just like that for you guys? It kind of does for us. Like from the beginning of August to the end of August, we have a whole different life, okay? And on top of that we are a household of neurospiciness, and there are steps we need to take to get prepared for this crazy time of year, and that is what this week is going to be. So it's kind of like a back to school week. This video specifically, I'm going to be talking about like my plans, my efforts to try to combat some of that craziness and what our life is going to be like and all that stuff. In the next video, I'm going to be sharing some like meal prepping and meal planning that I'm doing to kind of get ahead of the game here. So let's dive into all of that. As I mentioned, we have a lot of neurospiciness going on around here, and we thrive with schedules and routines. We also hate schedules and routines. So it's very much this, we need it, but we hate it kind of thing. And I've just come to the realization that this year we have 3 that are going to be doing several extracurriculars. And we haven't had a schedule like this since pre-COVID, pre-pandemic year times. And so I was like, I got to get ahead of this. I don't want to feel like I'm chasing my tail all the time, I've stopped saying, I've decided that I've stopped saying things are going to die down, because they never do. It just don't. And not having to feel that way, like waiting for, some downtime, I was like, I need to get ahead of this thing, ahead of this moving machine that is going to be barreling at us. So that is what I've been working on. I've been getting the kids signed up for their things, getting it kind of like organized, deciding when we're going to do things and how we're going to do things. And so that is what today's video is going to be about. So first things first, I'm going to jump over to the computer and show you this schedule that I've made. We have not in the past been a schedule family. We don't like it. But with all the things that we have coming up, there are going to be 3 days a week where like we aren't even home the whole evening, basically. And so I was like, and then we have a lot of extra like curriculars during the day too. And we always end up skipping school because our life gets busy. And so I was like, I need to factor this in. I need to be prepared. We're typically, or in the past, have been a eat lunch, do school kind of family. And that's just not going to work for what our life is going to be, because we have a lot of things in the afternoon. And my daughter's in high school now. And so she needs to be kind of more on top of what she's doing. She's going to be taking some virtual classes. She may even be starting at the community college, this year. And so we need to be more on top of things. And so that schedule is not going to work for us anymore. So we're going to have to adjust. We're going to have to kind of move things around. And so I was like, you know what? We need to see it. We need to see it in black and white. With a little color added in, because we like color. But I'm going to jump over to the computer and show you what I've been working on. All right. So I spent some time making a little handwritten, with all the things that I did, all the research and everything. For what we're going to have kind of going on. And so now what I need to do is make it look presentable. So I'm going to use Canva for that. I'm going to search for a template and see if they have something I like. So I've sped it up here, obviously. I tried out one other one before I went to the one that I finally landed on. I saved you guys the effort of watching that because I decided against that one. I decided it wasn't going to work. This is the one that I ended up going with. So pretty boring process here. I'm just like updating the times, plugging it in our things, trying to get it set up to what makes sense for us. You'll see I kind of changed like the boldness and some other things just to fit our personality and what works best for us. And then I'm just kind of like plugging in what we have going on, what's going to be happening at those specific times. Eventually, you'll see me do some color coding. So in our house, everybody has a color, and that color is, kind of just like an easy representation of who's got what going on. So you'll see I'm doing colors here to show who's going to be doing what. And now I'm going to describe what I did here for you guys. All right, so I ended up going with this one because it was a little bit more simplified, and this is kind of what I wanted here. And so I'm going to implement a new rule. I've never had a rule to wake up this early, but as you can see, our afternoons are getting kind of busy. And we used to be like an after lunch schoolers, but our afternoons are getting a lot more busy. And so now that my oldest is in high school, I don't want her missing a lot of school days. So I'm implementing a new wake up by between 9:30 and 10, or wake up at 9:30, between 9 and 9:30. And then by 10, they need to be ready to go because we have things that start between 10 and 10:30. And on days that we don't have those things, I need to get school done in the morning so that it frees up our afternoons for other things like play dates, field trips, co-op, all those other things. And then they're starting to have a lot of extracurriculars in the evening. So this is what I have set up so far. We used to eat dinner as soon as my husband got home at 5. I would make dinner, we'd eat by 6, but now I'm not going to be making dinner until 6 most nights. I'll probably still start it a little bit early, when my husband gets home on the days that I'm home, but you can see that I might not be home because I might be picking up kids, which is why I've started a lot of meal prepping, which will be a new video coming up really soon. So yeah. So that is everything that I've set up. Their bedtime is between 9 and 10, which is a little bit later. The littler kids go to bed a little bit earlier in that window. The older kids a little bit later. A lot of times once the little kids go to bed, the older kids and I will watch an episode or two of something on TV together. And so that's a little bit of alone time they get with mom, just them. So I'm going to print this out. I am going to put this all over my house. It's going to go above, I think here I'll try to take a picture and show you like above our command center, and in our house. And then I will take it and put it in our homeschool room. And then I'm going to put it in each of my older girls' rooms so that they see what is ahead every day, because that is an issue. So I have been waking up between 7:30 and 8, and I get up, get dressed, get ready for my day, and I will sit down and do whatever I need to do, whether it's set up for schoolwork, set up for, work on the channel, set up for whatever it might be. Maybe I need to finish up something for the co-op for the day. Just any of that stuff I will take care of within that time frame, and then throughout the day as I have time to work on it. But that I used to be a night owl, but now my kind of circadian rhythm is kind of changing a little bit. So I am now doing those things first thing in the morning before my kids get up and get down here and get moving on their day. So fingers crossed this helps us out. All right, so setting up the schedule was step 1 of my new plan to get us, back on track. So that is what I did. I created that schedule. I've now printed it. It's posted in the homeschool room. It's posted by our command center where our calendar is, and I posted one in my middle daughter's room. I was gonna post one in my older daughter's room, but she didn't want it. But I might still put it there or put it in the hallway upstairs or something so that everybody can see what we have as our weekly routine. Are things still able to adjust? Of course, okay? So a little bit what I'm hesitant about is that some of my kids don't do well with change. Like when we say we're going to do one thing and then we do something different, or somebody cancels plans on us, or sometimes that's a struggle. So I was a little bit hesitant to do this, but I I took that into account, and I told all my kids, like, this is our basic structure, but things can change. And already, like, very first week of implementing this, we've had to change when, our therapy got moved one day, and so we had to change things around already. So I'm hoping that kind of like is a good thing, in the sense of that it's showing that things can move around, but this is the general idea of what's going to be happening. So that was my step 1. Step 2 was getting my older girls, like, I'm like, get out your phone, set up a timer. You guys have got to be a little bit more self-sufficient as far as like getting up and getting ready and getting moving for your day. When I told my oldest daughter, she's like, but that's the time I read. And I'm like, then you're going to need to get up a little bit earlier and read a little bit earlier. So you can set your timer for when you want to get up and get moving. But by 9:30, I need you awake and up and getting ready for your day. And so that is, that was step 2, like sitting down with my girls and being like, this is what it looks like. This is what, if you want to do these things, this is what has to happen. And getting their alarm set so that they can start working on, a lot of times they still I'm not saying that they didn't set alarms and get up themselves anyways, but the change is that now it's going to be every day instead of the days that we had something going on. And so, because sometimes we're going to be doing school before lunch, which is out of our norm from the past. So that was step 2, sitting down with my girls, getting ready. Step 3 is implementing, and that is the phase that we are in right now. And so I will, of course, be keeping you guys updated. Sorry, the sun comes in at a weird angle at this time of day. Let me adjust. Okay, hopefully that's a little bit better. I've had to adjust my schedule too, because life is different. Life is crazy. Perimenopause has changed my circadian rhythm. And so now I'm filming earlier in the morning, but my filming location has the sun coming directly in at certain times of the day. So, yeah, so we're just making adjustments all around here, which is hard for us, okay? That is hard for people who have neurospiciness. A lot of times a change in schedule, a change in routine can be really difficult, okay? But being on the forefront, being ready for it, knowing it's coming, which sometimes you can't know it's coming, but when you can, like setting yourself up, setting your children up, for success is going to be your number one tool, weapon in this battle. Okay. And so that is what I've really been working on, is getting things going. I set up my homeschool planet. Everything's in there. Everything's ready to go. My girls now know, they have their own logins with Homeschool Planet, so they know this is what we have to do today. This is what we're going to be doing. They don't have to ask me to get their day started anymore. And so that has been a real help. They still want to ask. They still, are stuck in those routines, but I'm working on saying, I don't know, go check your calendar or go check your planner. And that's getting a little bit better, so just remember that these things are not going to happen overnight. Like nothing is going to happen overnight. So you are going to have to make adjustments. You're going to have to repeat yourself a ton, and just getting them used to these new routines and new schedules and new ideas and new flows. It takes time. So don't expect perfection right at the beginning. And I always, my daughter is a laminator. She wants things laminated and she dives in, and then so for me, like, kind of the idea that I have is you don't laminate it until you've tried it for a little while, okay? And that is kind of the approach I kind of take to all new things, is that we don't laminate it. It's not set in stone. We can make adjustments if something's not working. So we don't laminate it until we feel like we've got it under control. Then we can laminate it, print a new one, laminate that one, get it up and going. So just kind of taking that approach with new things, especially with neurospiciness, is that it's going to be trial and error. Some things are going to work, some things aren't going to work, so don't laminate it, okay? Give it some time, give it some adjustment, and eventually it will become second nature. And so, yeah, other things that I've done, for setting up for a new year are things that I've always done, like getting their bins. So right here is their bins, all their schoolwork's in it. So they only have one place that they go to get what they need. We created boxes. I've shared that many times in videos. I just went and let me grab one so you can see what I'm saying. So we got these latch top boxes from the dollar store. It was a couple years ago, but they might still have them. But it has all of their scissors, calculators, their fidget toys, their glue, their favorite pens, their highlighters, anything that they could possibly need for doing their schoolwork is in here. So if they grab this and they grab their bin, they are set and ready to go. They don't need to ask me where things are. Making sure those things get back in the bin at the end of the school day, that's something that they are required to do. Or so with my older daughters, sometimes I have to check their work. They leave it on the table for me to check, and then I throw it back in the bin. So, but having systems is going to be your best way of staying on top of things, because you don't want to, if you only have 2 hours to do school, you don't want to spend 20 minutes of it, trying to find your books or trying to find the pens that your kid wants or what, what I mean? Like having a place for it, being semi-organized. Now, I have this whole great wall of organization, but you don't have to do that. Especially when I had fewer children, I would literally only have the carts. So the first row was my daughter's stuff. The second row was my teacher manuals. And the third row was school supplies, things that we needed. When I was only doing 1 or 2 kids, that system worked great. So you can homeschool with very little space. You don't need a whole room, but having some kind of system is going to be absolutely vital. And that's what's important. Having a system for keeping everything in one place. I know some people like to use those boxes. I'll get a picture. You can get them at Michael's, but it's they have a bin space at the bottom and the top is an organizer. That system is great. We've never done that system, but similar, ours is similar, basically. Same thing. Anything that's a system where you know where your stuff is, you're not going to be looking for it. Everything that you sit down, you have everything you need, is going to be gold, okay? Especially if you have neurospicy, because we can be a little spacey. We can be forgetful. We can forget where we put things. We can be messy. So putting in systems to eliminate that is really important. A lot of times, so one other thing that I do is I post, our class rules never change, but I change the picture that I make, and I'll give you a few examples, but I change the picture that I make every so often, at least once a year, because once, it's there for a while, they kind of forget about it, and so I like to change that and have that posted. I actually have classroom rules posted in our homeschool room to remind them of the things that, homeschool is not, in our house, homeschool is not optional. You be kind to each other. You're allowed to make mistakes. Whatever your homeschool rules are, post them, because kids need visuals, okay? Especially the neurospicy ones. They need to be able to see it, okay? Because if they can't see it, it's out of their mind. And if they wait too long, or, if it's the same for too long, it goes away, okay? It doesn't exist anymore. Okay, so to summarize, the things that I've done to kind of set us on the right track is making sure all of my kiddos' stuff is organized and has a place to be. That's super vital. Just homeschooling in general. You don't want to spend your time looking for their pieces. Having everything in a dedicated space for all of your homeschool things really will help you set up on the right track. Being prepared, being planned, no matter how you do that. We used to be a post planner, so we would open and do the next assignment, and then I would write down what we did. You can absolutely do that if you're using a lot of open and go. But if you're not using a lot of open and go, having it pre-planned out is pretty important to keep you on the right track, because if you haven't planned it yet and then it's time to do school, things can get thrown off. Being ready helps not only like, you know, keep you on track, but also keep your kids' attention. Because if you have to stop in the middle of something to prep something, you've lost your kid. Okay, so for us, that's using the bins for organization, using Homeschool Planet to have our game plan ready to go. Now I've set up the weekly schedule so the kids know what's coming, when they're expected to be doing what, setting those alarms, getting them up, even though we don't leave the house every morning, getting them up, getting them ready. And then me being prepared for my household things, like meal prepping and planning, which is going to be the next video, as I said, making sure like the house is ready to go on Sunday evenings. Everything's like generally tidied and cleaned, and things are put away where they need to go, like our clothes and whatnot. But doing all those things can really help set you up for success, for a successful jump start to getting back into the groove of things. This works for not only back to school, which I think most of us have started school, you know, at least the new school year by now, but it helps not only then, but also when you come back from the holidays. Okay, so that's one thing that people don't really share a lot, is that when you come back from the holidays, things are all out of whack. Everything's crazy. If you can do this little bit of planning ahead and getting yourself set and ready to go when you're ready to start school back, it will save you so much headache and so much time and keep you on the right track. So yes, that is the things that I have been doing to get ready, which, I mean, most of it has been completed since before we started school. We started school a little while ago, but yeah, so get yourself ready, get yourself a game plan, and if things fall off the track a little bit, that's fine. Adjust, make improvements. Don't laminate, remember? But having some direction can really, really, really make all the difference. So I think I'm going to wrap this video up here, and I hope you guys will come back and chat with me again soon. Please share down below your tips and strategies for making sure you guys are starting off a new year on the right foot. I'd love to hear what they are. I'd love to add more tools to my resource box, or those moms that are just starting out. I'm sure they would love to hear what you guys do to set yourself up for success. I was actually watching a video from Ashley and Gathered and Grounded. I'll link her channel here, and she was like, yeah, she said in her thing, she was like, it's not until like after your third year of homeschool that you really feel like you're getting used to, you know, that you've got a handle on things. And I really couldn't agree more with her, is that it does take some time. So if you're new and you're just starting out and you're just trying, you know, everything's chaos, it's fine. We've all been there. Okay. So just do the best that you can to set up for success, but be prepared that things aren't going to go according to plan, because that's just life. Things don't go the way that they're supposed to, and you might have to make adjustments, and just hold off on laminating that piece of paper until you've made those adjustments. While you're down there, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget, you can always check us out over on Instagram at Homeschoolology. I share over there just our day-to-day lives and on all the good stuff. So if you have anything else you'd like to share, any videos you'd like to see from me soon, drop it down in the comments, and I hope you'll come back and chat with me again soon. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.